Happy Monday, guys. It's Gabe.
It's Caleb.
And Caleb, what does every great episode start with?
Starting now, an icebreaker.
Yes, an icebreaker. Woo, 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 woo. So the icebreaker doesn't have to just stay between Caleb and I, guys. If you like the icebreaker, feel free to comment your answer as well. Um, and sometimes these might get kind of deep, the icebreakers. So if you just want to DM us your answer, you can do that as well.
And you're encouraged to answer these questions.
Yes, please do. So today, our icebreaker question is: what's the biggest mistake in your life that you've learned from?
Wow. Okay. Biggest mistake.
Threw right at you.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
this is a tough one. Biggest mistake that I've learned from.
yeah. And you know
This
what?
this
You don't have to really give details. You can kind of give
mhm.
like an example, like a broad spectrum, and the lesson
Mhm.
you learned from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. No, I still got to think.
Yeah. No, you're good. Um, I don't know. You think it
Hmm.
would be when you were younger? You think it would be like when you were like 10 and below, or you think it'd be teens? What?
Well, I would guess probably teens or 20s
Yeah.
if I had to guess. Um, hmm. I'm seriously blanking here. Do
Yeah.
you have one in mind? Is that why
No.
you asked?
Dude, no. I was hoping you would answer so I could think of one. Oh man. Biggest mistake. You know, honestly, I think if you just take a look at the broad scope of things, it's
Mhm.
settling. It's not chasing the things in life that provide you the passion, even though they don't seem like an absolute solution or an actual opportunity in your life right now. It's more so, like when people chase hobbies or people do the things that make them happy, but they don't actually see a true vision in a career for it or something like that. It could be just not jumping on those opportunities right away and still putting up with the daily BS of life just because you don't actually think that your dream can become a reality.
Okay. All right. I think I got one now.
All
That
right,
was
all right.
good.
Let's hear it.
All right. Mine has always been complacency. That has been my number one enemy for a long time now. I get to this point where I feel like I've accomplished all the goals that I'd set for myself. And I want this in between phase where I can just kind of be lazy and not have to continue chasing because I've accomplished my goals. And
Mm-hmm.
it's toxic, it's horrible, and it's terrible. And I have to fight it almost every time I accomplish one of my biggest goals that I have set for myself. So I would say that that is probably one of my biggest um, problems
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite quotes, like through my teens and now that I'm in my early 20s, it still really holds a lot of value. Is nothing fails like success, and it's just once you hit that successful point and you feel like you've made it and you're good, you kind of stop chasing and you kind of lose that hunger and lose that drive because you feel like you're kind of already there, you know.
Right.
So
And even though there's a lot of ways to deal with it, but I would just say the biggest one is just getting yourself back onto another goal.
yep, yeah, just give yourself and obviously take the time to celebrate and pat yourself on the back, but.
And a little segue here, take some time to reflect on everything that got you
Mm.
there and everything that you could have done better.
Yes, 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 yes. So, today, our episode, we are going to be talking about 7 ways to productively learn from your past. So,
Hmm.
this is,
Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, by the way.
yes, happy Memorial Day. Very grateful for everything that we have in our lives, right? Um,
Hmm.
So now this is going to be it's an article that we have found online. I'll put the link to the website in the description in case you guys want to go check it out. But basically, it's 7 steps, and we're gonna read through them, and then we're gonna discuss each step individually as well. Well, not individually, but between the two of us, and kind of give our own twist and spin on it. So,
Let's get started.
all right. So, um, another good point that I just wrote down in here that I wanted to bring up in the episode, because we're talking about our past. Remember what good came from good actions, siphon out the bad actions that caused bad results. I think that that is very keen on what we're going to be talking about today. So just kind of keep that in mind as we read through this. So, so first one,
Awesome.
do you want to read the first one or you want me to do it?
Go for it. You.
All right. All right. So, we're going to be reading the first of 7 steps to productively learn from your past. The first step is reflect on it. Okay, so starts with a quote. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. wrote, "When I want to understand what is happening today to try to decide what will happen tomorrow, I look back. In order to gain value and insight from the past, reflection is a necessary first step. When we are unwilling, afraid, or too busy to look back, the value diminishes. The past opens its insight to us when we actually stop and look back at what has already occurred. This could be how a meeting went earlier in the day. It could be how we reacted to an event that happened 20 years ago. Reflection knows no time period and has no statute of limitations. Your entire past, your actions, results, and feelings are all available if you choose to tap into them. The following are additional tools and approaches to do that most effectively." So, kind of just breaking that down. So, reflecting on it. So, I guess what did you take from that?
Well, so one thing that is most important is really just forcing yourself to pause because I can tell you from a pretty recent experience that when it's something big and it's something terrifying and it's something that hurts, even, it's something that your brain almost doesn't want you reflecting on because it causes all those negative things to kind of become more prevalent. And so the biggest, most important thing is to pause. And that's kind of obvious, right? You can't reflect if you haven't stopped. But as you said, sometimes we're too busy in quotes, or we're unwilling or afraid to. Honestly, it was really hard for me to even admit that it was, something that I was afraid to reflect on, but, I don't know, I think the most important part is starting with the pause because it's really easy to just load your schedule up, load all of your free time up, and have it focused on one thing, that way you don't have to reflect on something, but, you gotta get yourself to stop and use a little patience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, yeah, I just love how it says the value diminishes, and it's kind of like the whole idea of um, there's only true failure when you don't learn from your failure, right? So it's really important to understand that when you mess up in life, or when things, like Caleb said, hurt you, and you don't want to reflect on them, sometimes you have to prevent yourself from going through that again, right? So you see that a lot in relationships. A lot of people will accept below average treatment and they'll settle with somebody just because they think that that's what's okay, right? Or they're scared to be alone, whatever it may be. And then going to the next relationship, they don't really think about that, and they really they're too scared to reflect on the last relationship, and they say, "Oh, my ex was so toxic," yada yada, whatever it may be, and they never took the time to actually reflect on what they could have done better or what they didn't notice right away.
Right, and reflecting it, what I think of when it comes to reflecting is at this point, you're simply kind of just laying down everything that happened. You're not necessarily going deep into it yet because this is just the first step. You're simply just looking back at actually what happened because in our minds, we tend to exaggerate things, make them
Mm-hmm.
worse than they seem to be, or on the flip side, we do the exact opposite. Oh, it really wasn't that bad. But when you start laying down all the facts, you go, okay, wow, I'm so glad that I dodged a bullet there, or I'm so glad that I moved on, or whatever it is that you're reflecting on. But
Yep.
um, yeah, just try to look at it objectively first. I feel like is one of the most important parts as well.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Boom. You ready to move on to the second one?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, next step is study it. Studying the past starts to feel like a history course, and sometimes it may be. Your goal, however, isn't to pass a test or hold a bunch of dates in your head. Your goal is to place yourself in the narrative to understand what was happening and what you can learn from it. This is true whether you're studying a famous leader, the arc of a nation, or the development of your industry. Studying in this way makes both the specifics and the context valuable. You also build a mental file of tools and approaches to make better, more informed decisions moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I
So
really
now that you've laid out what has happened, it's time to actually get into the deep dive aspect of looking back at your past.
Yeah, I love that it brings up a mental file of tools and approaches to make better, wiser, more informed decisions moving forward. It's almost like that episode we made. setting precedences, where you
Mm-hmm.
kind of have established your things in life, like where you kind of take down that Goliath, and you understand that that next time you go through it, you're well equipped for it. You know.
Exactly. I mean, it's like any this can apply to literally any situation. Okay, so you work in fast food, you messed up a burger. Well, now that you're studying how you messed up this burger, you're gonna make the perfect burger next time because you have that tool set, you have that memory attached to the event that made things kind of spiral downwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Sweet. All right. Moving on to the next one, the third step. It is replay it. So replaying a situation is different than just reflecting on it. Try walking back through the situation, relive it, but with the knowledge and perspective that you now have after the fact. Use this hindsight education to think through what you might do differently or better in the next similar situation. This is like pre creating positive future deja vu moments. That's funny.
Yeah. So I think what's important about this, just as a whole, is that this is something that takes a lot of time. Okay. When I had a recent relationship end, this was not done in one day. This was done over the course of months. It took me to do kind of step by step, because it's so difficult. And once you give yourself a little bit of time, to kind of accept things as they are, it's a lot easier to reflect on what was, and so replaying it can be a very difficult part of this process, just because if you still have emotions attached to whatever it is you're replaying, um, it can be pretty tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Yeah, I really like the pre creating positive future deja vu moments. It's really cool to it's almost like your physiology when you're in a situation, and when you're stressed, you start pacing, you start what do they call it, stimming? Is that what they call it nowadays? Where you're like you like rub your legs or like rub your hands together, stuff like that. Or so like when you're happy, if you just force your body to do the reactions where you kind of like puff your chest out, you smile, you're broad, you're like, yeah, this is what my body does when I'm happy, so I'm creating my own happiness by doing this. And that's kind of what that means by the deja vu. I like it.
Awesome. All right, moving on to the next one.
Yep.
Okay, we're cruising. We're cruising today.
Yeah, we are.
Generalize it. Generalize it is the next step. So the situation from your past might never occur in exactly the same way again, but that doesn't change the value of looking back. By reflecting on the past, we can find common threads, general components of situations that we can use to create lessons and ideas for the future. This is a great strategy when looking at the lives of other people or case studies. Rather than looking for what doesn't apply, identify the lessons that you can apply again and again. Generalized lessons are more applicable to a wider variety of situations.
Awesome. Man, how about that? Generalize it. What does that make you think
Generalize it.
about?
Well, so a lot of people think, and it's very easy to think this because we're all individual people
Yeah.
with individual experiences, that, oh, this very specific thing happened to me. There's no possible way that I can apply it to any other situation.
Right.
Whereas if you generalize it, if you make everything as general as you can, now you're focused on the lesson part of it, which is basically what was
Right.
just said there. But regardless, it's the fact that if you can generalize something, and then that makes it so much easier to actually apply it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you're having a conversation with somebody, right? And like everyone's got that one person in their life that tries to like one up their oh man,
Yep.
I only got 5 hours of sleep last night, and they're like, you got 5 hours, I only got four, and that's a very small scale of it. But when you take it to a big scale, it's like understanding that that's the same thing, right? Sleep deprivation, So this is now how you're moving forward through your day, knowing that information. So there's always going to be variables in your situation, but that doesn't mean that the scope of your solution is going to be different, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is a good way to put it, for sure.
All right. Oh, I love this one. Release yourself from it. Man, is there anybody else that finds so much peace in letting things go? Do you feel that way, Caleb?
It's more of a roller coaster for me before I
Yeah.
get to the peace side, but once
Yeah.
I'm there, yeah, absolutely.
Man, there's something about laying up late in bed and just staring up at the ceiling, and everyone does it, right? You have these thoughts running through your head like, am I good enough? could I have done this better? Could I have done that better? Whatever it may be. This person wronged me. I have anger in my heart. Whatever it may be, you stop and you take a deep breath and you say, you know what? I forgive everybody who's ever done anything wrong to me. They live their own lives. They have their own situations. No control over that. I have my own life. I have my own situations. Me holding on to this anger is only hurting me. It's doing nothing to the other person. So why am I holding on to it? And then you just let it go. So, moving into the fifth step, release yourself from it. There are some things in your past that you regret, feel guilty about, or wish you could have done differently. The fact is, however badly you feel, however desperately you wish you could change it, it's in the past. The page is turned. This may mean you have to forgive others or yourself, let go of pain, guilt, and keep the learning. Or find the learning. I don't know why it says that like that. But that is awesome, man. I absolutely love the ability, and it takes a lot of work. It's taken me years just to be able to forgive the small stuff and let it go. But it causes your life to have so much freedom and so much more peace when you can just look up at the ceiling and say, and it's certain people's situation, right? Like, hey God, listen, I understand what happened to me happened for a reason. I hold no anger in my heart. I'm not upset at these people whatsoever. I'm not upset at myself anymore. I'm forgiving myself, and I'm going to move forward and continue to learn in my life.
And it is one of the hardest things that can happen. At least personally, I've always struggled with that aspect of it, kind of just releasing. But all these things that you hold on to are just weight on your shoulders. And we already have an episode, I believe it was called Let Go to Let Grow,
Mm-hmm.
something pretty similar to that,
Yep.
pretty close.
Yep.
Wow, that makes me sound bad.
Yeah. Long time
But
ago.
but basically it's just that weight is being lifted off your shoulders, and it's really hard to describe the feeling, the exact feeling you get, but the best way is just relief. It's the most relieving feeling in the entire world.
Yeah.
Once you get to this point, this is kind of the turning point in reflection where you go from kind of the hurt, broken, or upset person to more of the like just calm and
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
It's kind of the transition I'd like to think of it as, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's a good way to put it. The transition.
But all right, on to the next.
Yep.
So now we reframe it. Reframing the past comes with the perspective we get from replaying it and releasing it ourselves. Wow. Let me redo that real
Yeah.
quick.
You're good.
Reframing the past comes with the perspective we get from replaying it and releasing ourselves from it. While we can't change our past, we can reframe the situation to serve us better in the future. Was getting fired a failure or a great learning experience? It could be both or either one. The fact is, you were fired. How you frame and use that experience makes all the difference. This isn't about denial or lying to ourselves, it is consciously using our past to help us move closer to the future we desire.
I love it. I love it, man.
Seriously.
Abs-
Seriously, because this is kind of the whole thing of turning that negative into a positive.
yeah.
Because now that you're able to be honest with yourself, you can actually use what happened and you can reframe it to highlight what you need for the future.
Man, the super powerful thing in that is sometimes you will, in the reframe it, right? You look back at your situation, you put yourself into it, and now you're thinking about it again. And I bet, 20 to 30% of your bad experiences or bad memories you realize are just the way that you interpreted it. And now it's not even holding any weight on you, and you can just move forward knowing that I was holding on to that for no reason, right? It actually wasn't anything bad, right? In this instance, it's talking about getting fired. Is it a bad thing or was it a learning experience? And if you can step away and just say, yeah, I learned from it, and that's the value I want to take from it, and then just let it go, right?
Exactly. I think one of my favorite quotes is let go of the illusion that it could have been different.
Mm-hmm.
Because in our heads, we all think that, oh, if just this happened or that happened, everything could have gone differently.
Yeah.
But the truth is, first of all, it doesn't matter because that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But second of all, you it was going to happen eventually,
Yep.
right? We are who we are, and the things that happen for a reason. So there's not much you can do to change the outcome in those situations. So I think that it's really important to let go of this illusion that I have given myself this illusion multiple times where I'm just so hyper focused on that it could have been different, but it's not different. It is not different, and that is okay. That is actually better than if it was different because now you're learning the hard way, and the hard way sticks. Let me tell you.
I love it. I love it, man. I feel your energy. I feel it through the screen. This is awesome. Doesn't it feel so good to be here?
It's amazing.
Gosh, man, we're so happy to be back recording for you guys. I love this.
Honestly, it feels good. Feels
Oh
good.
man, that like half the things I'm saying are like my gears going, and I was like, dude, I need to hear this. This is stuff I need to say to myself out loud, and that's
As
exactly what
we
we're doing.
Let me tell you something. As we've been recording this episode, I've been reflecting on the past 6 months so hard, so hard.
Yeah, yeah, man. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, the seventh and final step is use it. All the reflection, study, replay, generalization, and more is only valuable when you use the lessons. In the end, the way to productively learn from the past is to put those lessons into practice now and in the future. You have a
So
past. Oh,
I'm gonna
go
put
ahead.
you on the spot real quick. Could you give me a quick example of what that would look like?
Yeah, so let's see. In the end, the way to productively learn from the past is to put those lessons into practice now. Okay, so really, yeah, it's just ultimately a sum of the seven steps. Well, the six steps. Seven step is just to use it. Um, when you're looking at, let's say, for example, oh man, I hate examples of failure, but they're out there. So, okay, so we'll take for example when I was getting my real estate license, and it took me 3 attempts to get my real estate license. So, I wasn't conscious of these steps in the moment, but I was definitely applying them. Instead of seeing the failure and accepting it as a failure and kind of just leaving it as that, I they give you a sheet when you fail your real estate license, and it shows you all the topics and where the points you missed and everything like that. So what I did is I took the sheet and I gave myself a pat on the back. I said, "Listen, man, you did good here, here, and here. Like you nailed those. Don't worry about it. This is where you're kind of falling behind. Let's focus on that." So I focused on that, reframed it as in I'm doing well, and I just want to do better. Right? I want to do better so that I can get my real estate license. So I'm productively learning from, and it wasn't necessarily the past. It was pretty recent. You know, obviously you fail an exam, you go back to take it. Um, but it's more so just taking that moment and I studied hard and I got my real estate license. And now moving forward, I have that whole scenario and I have that whole situation, which is a precedent in my life. So if I run into a situation again where if I'm failing or if I'm doing wrong in my own eyes, I can kind of take that step back and say, hey, no, like you failed plenty in your life and it always works out for you because you stick your nose in the dirt and you just keep going, right? That's all you can do. So that's using it. That's what I would take away from using it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for putting me on the spot. I love it, dude. Oh man. And I'm already sweating. It's 81 degrees in here, and
Wow.
because I have an AC unit in here, but because of how my microphone works, it would just be like
Mhm.
"Brrr" the whole time. So I don't want to have my AC unit while I'm recording. So I'm like sweating buckets right now, but it feels good. I have
The
adrenaline.
dedication.
Yes, I'm in it. I'm here to win, right? We are winners here at Positive Outlook, and so are all you guys. You guys are all winners for tuning in. So, last little part here. You have a past. All of the events, feelings, emotions, and results are sitting in that treasure chest. It is my hope that this article helps you decide to open it, and Caleb and I's hope that it'll help you discover it, and explore with vigor and anticipation. The treasure is there, but you must look for it. Boom! What do you think about that?
I think that sums it up
Are
beautifully.
you
I
looking
mean,
for it?
we all have the tools we need. We all have it. All
Yep,
right. Sometimes we need a little help finding how to use those tools, but we all have the tools available.
absolutely. We have them. The tools are there. All right.
And so are we. So are we.
Woo! We're always here. We're always here, guys. Love you guys so much. Seriously. Oh man, the amount of support we've gotten from producing no content in the last like I'd say year and a half. You know, we did what, 3 episodes in the last year and a half.
Across it, yeah.
Yeah, so and we still got so much love, like, I don't know. And we still just want to put out content for you guys and just keep creating. And yeah, this feels good. This feels legit. Caleb and I are back on a schedule. We're kind of just able to move forward with this and it feels good.
Hmm. And shout out 1,600 of you guys are
Yes.
subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we did hit 1,600 today. So thank you guys so much for your dedication and your love to us. We will continue to reciprocate it because we love you guys too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this was an amazing episode. This felt so good. Do you have anything else you want to add to today's episode?
Guys, just keep in mind reflecting it can be the most difficult thing in your life for specific things. It can be so tough to have to reflect on something that caused you a lot of pain, caused you a lot of hurt. If you guys need any help reflecting on anything, our DMs are always open. Obviously, that's very personal stuff, so we completely
Yeah.
understand. But it's really difficult to reflect, and sometimes you do just need a little nudge. Sometimes you need that outside perspective to help you reframe it. Okay, this is your situation. I'm looking at it from an outside perspective. Well, this is what I see from it, because generally outside perspectives help a lot with kind of
Mm-hmm.
giving you the general idea of what happened. So if you guys ever need that outside perspective, we're always open. And just know it does take time to reflect and to get good at reflecting.
Yes.
It's not something that's easy. So be patient with yourself and just keep working through the steps over and over again. And once you get it, it'll be hard to lose it.
Absolutely. Boom. Beautiful words, Caleb Preston. I love it. Other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. And happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Peace.